Hey guys, welcome back to AFK Journey. In today's video, I wanted to go through my list of heroes that I consider to be like the must-build heroes for a free-to-play account to have a really solid foundation leading into like the next season. You guys have seen I have been saving summons for a very long time now, and I wanted to go through what units I needed to have finished before I actually started saving on my account. Funnily enough, there is only 3 S levels here that I consider to be must builds and 6 A levels. So I want to go through them. As always with games, it's a game. It's about having fun. You don't have to build any character. Obviously, do whatever you enjoy. If you like a character, go ahead and build them. But this is talking from more of a stable foundation for an account perspective. So let's jump in and take a look. Now, like I said, 3 S levels and 6 A levels are the key ones for me. And like I said, I am still hanging out for them to release some absolute banger heroes because we have been sitting on these solid foundations for a very long time. So the first one is obviously going to be Smokey. Now, Smokey, basically any investment into this guy is good investment. So if you can get him to Mythic Plus, great. If you can get him to Supreme Plus, great. The one thing I will say with his exclusive equipment, getting it unlocked is fantastic. Going beyond that, going to level 2, level 3, level 4 is nice. He's a fantastic hero. But there's other heroes that kind of really need that investment more than him. So even if you do get him to Mythic Plus, you can feel free to leave him at base on his exclusive equipment and you will still get the value out of it. But he is just amazing, just healing, buffing, all-round fantastic unit. This guy is one everyone wants to get this guy built up as fast as possible. And here's number 1. Once again, let me know if you guys have any other units on here that I don't mention as well. These are just like the core ones I'm thinking of. So the next one is going to be Iron. Now, why Iron? You need to get this guy to at least Mythic Plus. He enables a whole style of play, which is the grouping play. It is absolutely fantastic getting all the enemies into a bunch, and getting this guy to a bare minimum of Mythic Plus is where you want to get him to. Supreme Plus is fantastic as well because he does sometimes act as a pseudo tank, so any stats can help. With his exclusive equipment, you obviously, the key thing, kind of like Smokey, is to just unlock it. Now, if you can get it to plus 10, that's also really nice. Plus 5 really doesn't matter. So either you get it to plus 10 or you leave it at base is kind of the area that I float between for free-to-play players, because at level 10 you get longer immobilization, but you know, it's not the most important thing. I think it's quite fantastic if you are using this team a lot and you got a full team built around it, but once again, you just got to weigh up how much resources you have for it. But just even at base on Mythic Plus, this guy is absolutely fantastic. Moving on from that, my final must build S level is going to be Thorin. Thorin, basically, you once again, the level you want to get him to is at least Mythic Plus. And also, if you can take him to 5, it's nice if you have the extra resources just to get the extra healing onto him from the ally. I think that's a really nice effect. So plus 5 is a really clean spot for Thorin without too much investment. Once again, he's one, like, if it was between getting him or Smokey to plus 5, I would choose Thorin every day of the week. So this guy, to Mythic Plus, ideally you want to get him to Supreme Plus. He is a tank, so you want to be tanking as much damage as possible, and stats are really going to be heavily impacted by that. But his exclusive equipment is the big thing, giving himself an extra life and allowing you to help protect an ally, especially in bossing and stuff like that. Now, yes, for pay-to-win players and stuff who have a bunch of Celestial Hypergeans, Thorin doesn't see as much use in bossing, but for free-to-play, where you don't have all those units built, most teams you use are going to involve Thorin in them, and he's just absolutely fantastic for that, for the damage amplification and the protection of an ally, and things like Croaker for the extra lives that he has. Now, that is going to be it for my list of must build S levels. It is a very condensed list, but I don't see anything else as a must build. The one caveat that I will add on to that is that I do think you want to build a carry. So I built Cecilia on this account. If you can go Floribel, Floribel's good as well, because you're going to want an early game carry. I just didn't want to list one of them as the must build. I think Floribel is better dupe for dupe, but keep in mind with Cecilia, she is in the arena shop and you do get a free copy at the start of the game, so she is cheaper to do. I'm going to do a whole video talking about that topic, but in general, you do want to build a carry. Being Cecilia or Floribel early on for most players is what I would recommend. And then also the other unit that is really nice is going to be a Carolina, or I don't even have her. Or if we go over here and look at my wish list, a Carolina, or an Elsa. They both fill a very similar role in the Iran team as the damage dealer. So getting one of those two built is also going to be fantastic, but I didn't want to put either or in as a must build, because the thing with these units, with the Floribel and Cecilia and the Elsa and the what's her face, Carolina, these are more the additional unit to those teams, and they have that purpose where we can definitely get other units that will replace them moving forward. But definitely you do want to build either an Elsa or a Carolina for your damage dealer in your Iran comp, and you want to build a Cecilia or a Floribel, in my opinion, for your early game carry if you are on a new account. If you've already progressed, a lot of people already have something built for that, so that's not going to stress you at all. So that is it for S levels. Now, just touching on S levels as well, we do include Celestial Hypergenes in there. I'm not going to include them in this video. I will do the whole Celestial Hypergene video in the next couple days and go through that in itself. But moving on to that, we have the A levels. The first one that you must build, in my opinion, is Odie. Odie is just too good everywhere. He has great value in AFK stage pushing. Absolutely god tier for when you just get into arena. He's fantastic there for early arena. And then also amazing in bossing with his raw bossing damage. This guy's fantastic. Where you want to get him to, Supreme Plus ideally. Keeping in mind with these guys, you can get them from the shop. So over time, you will be able to build these A levels a lot easier. So Odie is definitely the first one on the list. Now, next one is going to be Marilee. Marilee is very high priority after Odie because she just then ramps up your bossing damage. Now, we did see during the season that in the season, due to the damage mitigation factors of the bosses, Odie actually outshined her in the season, but outside of the season before that, Marilee was better, and then once we got to endless mode in the season, Marilee started to shine again, whilst Odie still does hold up a spot in some bosses. But Marilee, just a fantastic DPS option for free to play in bossing. Once again, she is the kind of unit that I do think will be power crept in the future, maybe by an S level character or something like that, but for the value you get out of the A level investment for her, I think she's absolutely fantastic. Now, I forgot to mention the exclusive equipment investment on Odie as well, so let's go through Odie first of all. I do like getting him to level 3 for PvP and stuff like that. Ideally, it allows you to get his shot off earlier and then start the execution range faster. So getting him to level 3, which is plus 10, I really do like on Odie. As for Marilee, she's one of those ones where any investment helps. I basically had her at plus 5 for a long time, finally got enough resources, put her up to plus 10 just to increase that damage, because once again, she is about bossing damage. Then the next one we're looking to is Corrin. Corrin is very similar to Marilee. They are both bossing specialists. Marilee is more just damage focused, but in some fights you will get more damage out of Corrin, and he does have the supportive capabilities with his shields and stuff like that. Once again, with this guy, if we go over here, his exclusive equipment, once again, it's one of those ones you can get it anywhere you want. I think plus 5 is the safe point. He is a bossing unit, so if you can get him to plus 10, I mean, 15 is a bit of a stretch for most free to play, but plus 10 is going to give him more damage output. But once again, for me, I just don't have the resources and I just left him at plus 5, but absolutely fantastic unit. Moving on from Corrin, I'm going to go into quickly Coco. Now, Coco is one that you don't need to rush to overbuild. Mine is still at Mythic Plus. I am just slowly building her up to Supreme Plus. The main reason you want Coco is she's fantastic at one copy all the way through, but you want to get her to Mythic Plus. As you can see here, mine is only at base. I think Mythic Plus with a base exclusive equipment is perfectly fine for Coco. The reason you want to get this is because it does give you that extra shielding capabilities, which really amplifies her survival for your team. It's absolutely fantastic, especially in some bosses where she is going to be a very core free-to-play unit for a lot of bosses, for a lot of players. So she is a great one to slap in there. Also, she is amazing for the AFK stages. After Coco, we go into the two wilders, and that is going to be Arden. First of all, Arden, I do like the idea of getting this guy to a Supreme Plus eventually. I don't think he's as important to get to Supreme Plus as things like Odie, Marilee, and Corrin, but definitely up there when we're looking at shop priority from the Dream Store after those heroes, because he is going to be a core unit for a lot of Iran teams where you're using that grouping for getting the CC and the damage in. So he's more, I consider him more of a control unit, but he does also pump out good damage. Other people would consider him a damage unit that can pump out a bit of control. So however you want to look at it, his roots are fantastic. You really want to get this guy's exclusive equipment because he is going to put the roots on when he uses his ultimate, which is fantastic. I think level 2 is a great place to get it to because you increase that range, makes him more reliable for AFK stage pushing and PvP. PvP. That is where he really shines, and he's fantastic for that. And then we go on to my final unit. Yes, this is the final unit. Like I said, there are a ton of other units in the game, but I just don't see them as being must builds for free to play. I feel like with these units that I've listed, along with a carry being Ceci or Floribel, and then an Iron damage dealer, Iron team damage dealer being either... To be fair, you can use Floribel in that team as well with Iron, so that's also an option. But yeah, you can use Elsa or Carolina as well. Then you're pretty much set. But the final one here is going to be Damien. This guy is absolutely amazing. Honestly, I find Damien to be one of the most average heroes until you get him to Mythic Plus. Yes, getting him to Supreme Plus is fantastic, but I consider him a lower priority than all those other heroes that I've already gone through for the Supreme Plus from the shop. So that's why this guy, getting him though to Mythic Plus is huge, and unlocking his exclusive equipment, and then especially when you get it to level 2 as well. Level 2 with the healing is fantastic. Obviously, base with the haste is great, but the healing is huge as well. So this guy, getting him to Mythic Plus +5 is super fantastic. Yes, Supreme Plus is great, but once again, as free to play, you are limited on resources, and I would definitely recommend going Odie, Merrily, and Corrin before you go ahead and you invest it into something like Damien. But that is it for my recommended must-build heroes to build a really good core foundation for a free-to-play player. After you have all them built to those areas that I said, basically all of them need Mythic Plus. Some of them you ideally want Supreme Plus, but you can stop earlier if you want to, if you're keen on looking forward into the next season instead of stressing too hard on this season. But those are the units. Like I said, if you guys think there's any units that I missed that you think are a must build for a free-to-play base moving forward, please let me know. I do think there are a lot of other units that do have some good usage and get the viability, but these are the ones with the most impactful viability, whether it be in range of game modes they're used in or how good they perform in those game modes. So that is going to be it for this one, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.